We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city.
What does it take? What's required to become a successful leader?
You know, this answer is going to be an onion answer. There are bunches of layers to this, and I'll try to unpack this as best I can. Let's start with the easy piece first. There are three elements to successful leadership that I absolutely want you to consider. And during our time together in this video series, we'll talk about each one of these a little bit separately, but the three critical elements to be a successful leader are, first of all, you have to master some leadership competencies. And those leadership competencies, there are 10 that we're going to spend some time talking about. Those are incredibly, incredibly important. You also have to have a heart for leadership, if you will. One that is very, very caring, very, very people-focused. And again, we'll talk about more of that in just a second. You're also going to have an environment where leadership is welcomed, appreciated, and supported. That one is an interesting one, and all three of those need to be present for a leader to be truly successful. You know, you can have the best competencies and skills in the entire universe, but man, if you got a cold, dark heart, it is not going to work for you. If you're in an environment that doesn't value leadership and, you know, likes to put people in boxes and, you know, say, Kelly, sit down. I don't want you to think about things. Just do what I tell you to do. You know what? It's not going to work. You need to have all three of those to be truly, truly successful. There's two other dynamics I want to talk about here too. One of them is multiplicity of role. How's that for a word? Multiplicity of role. That's awesome, huh?
That's nice.
So what that simply means is leaders have to play multiple roles multiple times during the day and transition from them incredibly seamlessly. Are there times that you're going to have to be the group's cheerleader and rally them to things? Absolutely. Are there going to have to be times where you have serious dialogues and coach people about, you know, time and attendance or how they're dealing with customers? Absolutely. Are you going to have to move into strategic planning? Absolutely. All of those things, and there's probably about 5 or 6 identified roles that you're going to have to move from all on a daily basis, and you're going to have to do it with absolutely no seam in the middle. You don't get to raise your hand and say, you know what, I need 10 minutes to move from rallying leader into coaching leader. You don't get that, man. You got to just change that hat and change that hat really, really quickly. The other thing, final thing about that's the other layer of this onion, I guess, if you will, is you're not always the leader. You know, you have a leadership role. You know, you're running your department. You're the manager, the director, or assistant director of your department. But you know what? When you're with your peers, you're not the leader anymore. When you're with your boss, you're not the leader anymore. You have to operate. If you think about like the rings, for example, the rings on the Olympic slogan, there are 5 rings there that represent the continents that participate in the Olympics. Those are all overlapping rings. Our leadership is a lot like that. You know, with my team, with my department, with my unit, yes, I'm the leader. With my boss, man, I tell you what, I am an awesome subordinate. When I'm with my peers, I am a collaborative, cooperative team member that gives and takes as I should. And one other dynamic to that too is also learning how to turn some of that down and off when we go home at night. You know what? You might be a big deal at work. You might be somebody that everybody stands up and goes, oh man, Kelly's here, this is awesome. But at home, yeah, it's about that big a deal. Your dog doesn't care, your kids don't care. You need to be able to dial that back there too. So, you know, again, knowing where your role, where your leadership plays out is important, because that can be a big disconnect for a lot of leaders. You know, if they go into a meeting with peers and they decide that, you know, they have to be the leader, I tell you what, that's not going to work. And you certainly can't lead upwardly the same way that you lead your team. So learning that differential is a really key component to leadership success.
So we have to multitask as well as wear different hats.
We do. We do, and do it seamlessly and gracefully too. We have to add an element of grace between those transitions.
Excellent.
We built this city